From the studio of your mom's basement comes a podcast by two idiots in a revolving door of legends and has-beens from the oldest university in Texas. This is Purple, Gold, and Getting Old.
There we go. Now you got to watch what you're saying.
Yeah. The $2 fines commence.
The Arch is finally on the podcast.
Do what I can.
The first Friar Tuck Bro to make it on here.
First Friar Tuck Bro. I love it. That's a whole other story that we will not get into on this
podcast. Tonight.
But at a future maybe.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of thought of it. I was like, we got Andy on here. We got to get Nathan. He's like the unsung hero of Couch Crew. And I was like, well, if we get Nathan, we got to get Brett and Kate. And then this ripple effect.
That'll spiral.
Got to have everybody in that case.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm excited for this episode. We're gonna talk to the new Couch Crew. So it's only fitting that the guys who went down with the Titanic are the ones who get to speak to the new guys.
What are we on Carnival Cruise now?
Well, I didn't quite go down with the Titanic. I jumped off at the last second and said, "Screw y'all! I'm swimming to the shore."
It was not fun at the end. At the very end.
Well, let's work through some of like our regular questions before we bring on the youngins.
The younglings.
With Andy that we kind of some of our other
First off, I feel like I'm gonna get mad whenever they tell us exactly how old these kids are.
Oh yeah. Here's what I like. I want to know like how old they were at like my first game, like in like.
Oh gosh,
that'll be depressing.
Yeah. They were like 10, maybe.
Yeah. All right, Andy. How did you end up finding UMHB? What brought you there?
Oh, man. So church I go to here in town, basically everybody in the youth building at the time were all Cru alumni. Now they all like work in the upper department. Like there's literally 10 or 12 of them. It's amazing. But I really didn't have anywhere that I was really looking at like legitimately. And so about that time, I was always with them and they were like, "Hey, you should go check out this place." And I was like, "Okay, never heard of it." And so I went down there and I checked it out, loved it. Of course, I checked out some other places. I checked out TCU, but that wasn't real. Ouachita was obviously up there, but went to both campuses.
It was the Arkansas campus you were talking about?
It is. Yeah. It wasn't even close.
So when you say that the church you were going to, is that Lake Point the same?
Yes.
Okay, very cool.
Now I remember you knew at least a couple of crew before you showed up. You knew Chris Berkeley, who was student body president my freshman year. So
he was just coming out as student body president whenever I went in, and he was one of the guys that was up at the church working there.
Okay.
And so I got to meet him and he told me a lot about what was going on with the church, the school. And so I was happy about it.
Yeah. One of the questions we always ask is, and I feel like I know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Of all the traditions at UMHB, what was your favorite to participate in?
Well, considering it was pretty much the only thing I ever did, it was just whatever Couch Crew was doing. And you think about that?
Yeah.
I always laugh. If I had gone back down there, I would have tried to do anything else, like just something.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything else. If Couch Crew wasn't there, an official reason, I wasn't there.
Well, that's the other question we always ask everybody is that if you could pick one that you weren't a part of that you could have taken a stab at, what would it have been?
I don't even know. I mean, I dabbled one year, like I helped behind the scenes of Easter pageant. Maybe I could have gone in and actually done it one time. Probably would have been the thing to do.
Yeah. So this is not a question we always ask, but it's definitely a question I want to ask for you. So for me, I learned about Couch Crew through Jeremy Williams, and I'm like, this sounds like the coolest thing ever. And then Garrett kind of just recruited me to some mischief, which is kind of how I really got involved in it. So what drew your eye and made you go, that's something I want to be involved in? And what kind of was the impetus for you joining up with Couch Crew?
That was a sheer accident.
Yeah.
And it actually involves the train horn, if you want to get into that.
Yeah. That's a great story.
Got it. Quick. If anyone doesn't know what he's talking about, if you've been to a UMHB football game in the last 13 years, Every time we score and that train horn goes off, this guy.
So this actually starts a little bit before college. I got to tell a story real quick. In high school, played 2 years of high school football. And after sophomore year, I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. I am 5'7", and I weigh 165 pounds, which I looked it up. That is literally what Rudy weighed. That was his height. I don't know how he did it at Notre Dame. It doesn't make any sense. But I had to, no. So playing days are over. I immediately am friends with all the cheerleaders. And so I become a member of the Yell Eaters, which is just basically what we did, Couch Cru, but in high school. And we're like, hey, we need something. We have a little spirit horn, or a bell, but that's not much. And I was like, let's go get one of those horns like TCU has. And so we looked it up, found out where it was. Some guy in South Texas makes train horns. And so we called down there and said, hey, we need one. And so 2 weeks later, we got it. And we'd taken around campus, all the schools, all the games. It was fun. So fast forward to college. I've been on campus for like 10 days, maybe. Oh, should we wait?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Go ahead, finish up.
Okay. And I was at like a soccer game, like the first game of the year. And I just happened to be over here, this conversation between these couple of guys. And they're like, dude, we need a new horn. Like the thing we have is dead and gone, busted. And I walk up to somebody I never met before, never even seen before. And I go, I have one of those sitting back home. I can bring that. And so once again, I called my dad. I was like, hey, can you get this down to me? He goes, yeah. And so like that next Wednesday, it was down. They brought it in. They had to show it off to Dr. Theodore to make sure it was good. And when I headed off the first time, it was in the middle of campus, and the guys went nuts. And those guys ended up being Dawson Barksdale, Robert Weston, and all those guys.
Nice.
And I just instantly became friends with them that day. Didn't know them from Adam before. And then we hit it off, and I started going to games with them. And that's how I found out about Couch Cru.
And we've been blowing train horns ever since.
Exactly.
Well, I believe, speaking of different eras of Couch Cru, I believe our timeline variants have arrived to the chat. And before we introduce them real quick, there's actually, before Andy brought the train horn to UMHB, there were these two guys, Ryan Owendowski and Josh Thiering, and they had this like really long mosquito mouth looking air horn. It was nowhere near as loud, but it was so much more obnoxious. It was the highest pitched squeal. And they wouldn't do it on touchdowns. They would do it when the game got quiet or when the quarterback was trying to communicate with the coach. And it would just, they got in trouble almost every week for having it. So I think when you brought that thing in, the school was kind of like, screw it, let's just embrace this and go with it.
That was like the soccer season. We brought, like Andy bought like 100 vuvuzelas after the 2010 World Cup. And we just the whole time until Randy Man was like, nah, you're all done.
You're done.
No, they legit, like we had him for about 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden we get a message from Randy Mann. He goes, yeah, so the conference has come down and said we can't have vuvuzelas at the games anymore. And I was like, for real? And he literally sent me the email that they had sent. It was legit.
All right. Let's get to know these guys.
Yeah. Welcome, gentlemen.
Yo, what up?
Hello.
All right. So I don't know if you're mirrored or who's left or right or whatever, but I just, up to your own discretion, just kind of take turns introducing yourself and what you do at UMHB.
I'll go first. My name is Michael Alvarado. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I go to UMHB. It's my second year. I'm a sophomore.
Yeah, I'm Caleb Roark. I'm a sophomore social work major.
Jackson Leedy, also a sophomore, go to UMHB, sports management major.
Yeah, so we're the Couch Cru Captains.
Yeah.
Well, there's more of them. They just all couldn't make it.
Pete Dill. Well, so Garrett I don't know really how all this came about, but from what I understand, Garrett kind of approached some of y'all guys at the HSU game. But I want to tell the prequel to that story because me and Andy over here arrived at the game and parked over in Independence Village where we used to live. And we get out and we've got like Andy's 4-year-old daughter, my 3-year-old daughter, like, oh, this is great. We're hanging out. And then we see this group of guys with like out shirts on and cowboy hats and painting up. And we just kind of look and laugh and like, that's us, like 10 years.
Oh yeah.
Great. Awesome. And so we get into the game and we go tell Garrett, like, dude, like, it lives on, man. These guys, we saw them. It was like us in Independence Village, however long ago. And Garrett's like pointing them out to me right now. Like, I'm over there. And he's like just gone. Like, didn't even explain what he was doing.
Well, I did at least make it to halftime. Y'all, like, I mean, I told y'all this when I met y'all.
That was when I told you.
Oh, okay, that was when it was. So
yeah.
I was so frustrated with the noise level, and I look down and I see these guys in the painted up bodies and all that stuff trying to get something going. I was like, okay, there it is. There they are. So that the rest is continued history, I guess. But yeah, tell us how it's been so far. Like rebooting an old tradition and what it's like.
Well, yeah, I remember you came up to us at the game and you were like, yeah, I was talking about rebooting Couch Cru. And I was like, what the heck is this? What? That sounds boring. But yeah, you told us about it. And so we started that, like, you came to us and gave us that meeting of kind of what it was. We were like, yeah, it sounds fun. So we went to like start an Instagram and like we just went like ham, just like following people that we knew. We posted some like black photo of just like a date. And then we just started following people like crazy. And we had those like photos. Everyone was just like, what's Couch Cru? Which is what we wanted. We wanted people to be like, what the heck is this?
What is this? Yeah.
What is this? So then we posted it and then we made this like big video of like explaining kind of what Couch Cru was. And that video took off. It got like 5,000 views on Instagram or something like that. And had like 10,000 impressions. So like we was going off. So that was pretty exciting. And then me and Chris, he's another captain. We went and talked to Mike McCarthy and the student dean. What is Mike McCarthy?
Yeah, student life.
So we went and talked to them just to be like, hey, so like we're bringing back Couch Cru. Like we don't know why it ended last time. We just came in to just say like we're gonna come in, we're gonna be Christ-like, I guess. But yeah, we were just gonna try to like boost student morale and spirit, just to like, and most importantly, we were trying to bring like friend groups that wouldn't normally be together. That's one of our big goals, is just to like get people that wouldn't normally hanging out together.
Yeah, because honestly, like we had no hype at any of the games. No one
energy at all.
I mean, it was kind of sad. So before like the games, some of us got together like, hey, let's get hype. Like,
and especially coming from high schools that like we're so hyped and like we enjoyed the environments. Going to a place like UMHB where the culture and football team is so good, like you expect
like all of
the
our
games
sports
to be
programs are like crazy good.
You expect the energy to be so high, and you show up and it's not like that, and you question it. So whenever Couch Cru started and you get this fire going and you're like, thank God we're finally getting something like this happening, because we love sports and we know everyone around us loves sports. We just needed someone to take the initiative and run with it. And so it's been an amazing opportunity to see that flourish and just continue to grow.
Well, y'all did an incredible
did take
job
off
with building hype. Yeah, like just awesome. Like the little announcement just to get people like, what is this? And then the video that came out was just like the production level was third
literally.
That was it was amazing. I got hyped and I'm like wasn't even on campus or going to school. So.
When y'all posted the blackout thing with just the date and that was it, these two guys and a few other people texted me. I was in Hot Springs, Arkansas, about to go play a show at this like country club, and I'm getting all these texts. It's like, what is this? Is this real? Is this happening again? And then when y'all posted the video, I think Nathan Berryman, where he's just like, I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah, I think like it probably absolutely sounds ridiculous for like a bunch of like early 30-year-olds to kind of get emotional about seeing like an organization come back. You're like, dude, y'all need to move on. Like, I don't, that's odd. But like for real, like so many lifelong friends who were like groomsmen in my wedding came through Couch Cru. I think like of my wedding, I had my brother, my best friend from high school, and then 4 Couch Cru captains. So like that is really in a very roundabout way that I won't get into. I also met my wife through Couch Cru. So yeah, I think for us at this point, it's like being able to look back and seeing what it meant just for our lives and the community that was built. And one cool thing I always love is at homecoming, I'll get to talk to a bunch of other guys who were in Couch Cru that were like, they're way before I got there, that are probably the same distance in age, but older than me than I am to y'all.
We're probably the middle.
They'll start telling these stories. And I'm like, dude, that's like, let me tell you my story. And it's like, it's the same thing, but just, different generations. And so that's a ton of fun. So I'm so excited that y'all are going to get to continue that on and make it your own thing too. And that's what will be cool, is it really, really gets to be y'all's own deal. make it work for y'all's generation. So, but one of the questions we always start with is, how did y'all find UMHB? So if y'all want to each take a turn, because it's not like the big schools that everyone thinks of. You know, everyone seems to have a story about how they found UMHB. So if y'all will just kind of go through and tell us how y'all get to it.
Well, like all throughout high school, I've been doing like theater and stuff like that. I always thought that was fun. And my brother went to UMHB. I don't know why he went, but he did. And I came and watched him do crew nights. He was an MC in that back-to-back years. So I came watch do that. And I was like, dude, this looks like so much fun. Just like all like the friendships they had, it just looks so much fun. And I remember going to my sister's stuff because she went to like ACU and UT. And it just didn't seem like there was just like this, like just family that it was. So that I just like saw that like in early high school. I was like, man, that looks fun. So I was kind of like, UMHB was always on my radar. And just the idea of like, I knew that just going to like a smaller college, I was just going to be able to like be involved on campus in multiple things. So I assume like bigger colleges, it's like you have your thing, and you do that for your 4 years. But here it's like I've been involved in Easter pageant, crew nights, FYC, and just Couch Cru now. And it's like just things like Couch Cru. Like we were able to just like start off Couch Cru and it be very successful for UMHB standards, and it was like great. And which is I've just loved it. So.
Yeah, and mine's kind of similar. I've looked into going to the bigger schools, just didn't have the vibe that everyone else in high school like wanted to go to the UTs and the Techs and the Baylors. I just didn't have that vibe. And originally I wanted to go to ACU just because it's the Christian small college kind of vibe, but it's also the big kind of school. And then my parents pushed me outside and were like, you know, you have to try other places. Walked into UMHB, saw the big Cruise Stadium, and you're like, you can't not see a place like that, see a beautiful stadium like Crusader Stadium, and be a sports management major like I am, and not like I want to go there. And so like amazingly, the fact that it's a Christian university and also that they have beautiful sports programs and the campus is beautiful really goes into that. And then also like Caleb said, there's so many amazing organizations to get involved with where you feel like you're running a city almost, because you're at a small university and you're meeting everyone that lives here, and also being able to run organizations and know everyone that's running organizations, and like Couch Cru almost, you know, develop the culture there and just boost it and make it how you want to make it. So yeah.
Can I just tell you real quick before you go, when I first toured the campus, we still had the high school stadium, but I drove in on 6th coming off 35, and I saw that crappy little like Belton soccer stadium, and I thought that was the stadium.
I did too.
And I had just gotten back from A&M, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I would have cried. No shot.
All right, go for it, Michael.
Yeah, my story's a lot like shorter. It was kind of weird because like I went to 6A high school. I had a bunch of friends, and you know, like everybody either went to Arkansas or Tech. And I had a group of like all my best friends, 22 like close friends, and we were all gonna go to Tech, and we were all gonna have a great time. But for some reason, a little ad came up for UMHB. Don't even remember how. Don't even remember like what happened. But I opened it, and I was like, "This is it."
Nice.
And I just felt for it, came to it, and I don't regret what I did.
Yeah.
Or one for Zuckerberg.
That's awesome. So I've got several questions. Garrett, do you have any before we want to kind of?
No, you go.
Okay,
go first.
Yeah. So what I was going to ask is there any professors in y'all's life that like are super just kind of influential that you love, like you know outside of class sort of deal that you want to talk about?
Okay. Yeah, I have one professor. His name is Dr. Wynn. I don't know if you know him, but he is a New Testament professor.
Nice.
And he's just fantastic. Like he knows everything there is like to know about the New Testament of the Bible. Like his theology is fantastic. I've had a lot of questions, like even outside of class. Like I'll just come up to him and like, hey, like what does this mean? Because I like there are moments in my life where I can like relate to a verse, but I don't really understand it. Yeah. So he helped me out and he like guided me through that. So yeah.
That's awesome.
No. Andy, is that a championship shirt?
It is.
I almost wore that same one. No, talking about getting too old to do certain things. So this shirt has been worn 4 times in the last 12 years. I threw it on tonight. It still fits. It was the official captain shirt in 2007. Wow.
And I'm so jealous that you can fit in that.
I didn't say it fit well.
I don't even think I have mine anymore.
This has been worn to 2 Stag Bowls, a semifinal, and this interview.
That's impressive. You know, that's one thing I do love about UMHB though, is that you can have those relationships.
Oh yeah.
Pull them aside. I had an English professor, and he was the first class I ever sat in, and at like first class of the day, first day of school, freshman year. And I was in the wrong classroom at first, so I came in late, and he just starts like berating me. And I'm like, honestly, at this point, thinking like, I came from a small town, so even UMHB felt kind of big to me. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. But then we became so cool with one another, where I would be able to hang out and talk about sports in his office afterwards.
Wild.
And like, it helped my grades out too, because like the second semester of having him, I walked into class one time late. And he's like, oh, hey. And normally he would never give you your quiz that would be out there at the beginning if you weren't there on time. But he gives me my quiz to let me do it, get my grade. And he's like super friendly. He's like, hey, how you doing? And then like 2 minutes later, maybe a minute later, someone else comes and he locks the door and is like, sorry, not to lock to the quiz. I'm like,
yeah. No, I definitely have an influential professor like that as well. Mine is Dr. Sambito, Lester Sambito. He's in the sports management realm. I've had him for like 5 or 6 classes in sports, and I absolutely love him. Like, have preferred to take his class to the point where I've had to not be able to take his class anymore if I want to have him senior year, because I took him so much freshman and sophomore year. Awesome. But he's just someone that like I've loved learning from. And like you said, like you can show up after his class and enjoy like talking to him, text him outside of class, have like a genuine relationship with him, you know, like it's like almost having a friend or a mentor that knows more than you are, but not a professor to the point where you're scared to approach them, or, you know, like you don't know if you can have a genuine conversation with them. I don't know. It's so cool to go to a college where that's normal, and how, you know, you can have that with every professor. Because I know at UT or Tech, you know, you're in huge conferences and, you know, you don't get to meet your professor nearly ever. And so, yeah, just a lot of amazing professors at this campus.
Any of y'all have Carrie Owens?
Dude, that's where I was leading.
I knew you were
thing. I was going there.
Kathy Owens.
You have Kathy Owens. Okay.
Man, Carrie Owens is a legend. Like, y'all just, if you ever get
any stories
or take a class, you got to do it.
They're both fun people. Yeah. Carrie. So I've been to Wisconsin Whitewater and Salem with Carrie. Like he's a super fan.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is probably a story for another time, but I one time get I guess suspended from going to basketball games for like a certain amount of time. And Carrie Owens was so mad about it. Like I showed up into class and he goes, "Are you still not being able to go to games?" And I said, "Just one more game, Dr. Owens." And he's like, "Let me tell y'all something about Tyler. He's a model student." And just like rants for 5 minutes about how great I was and like how I should go to games and stuff. And it was like really embarrassing, but sort of hilarious. And like, that's just the kind of guy. Carrie Owens is a rebel. He bucks the institution, and that's
he's a friend of the Couch Crew if you ever need one. I'll put it that way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So one question I would have is, you know, once people knew what it was and they saw what you were doing, how quickly did it take off? Because for me, some of y'all saw me at the TLU game when y'all first brought out the banner, which came from Andy. And when I saw the banner, I saw y'all there. I was like, okay, this is like, they said they were going to do it. Now I'm actually seeing it. Like, this is happening. And Jeff Sutton, shout out Jeff Sutton, who he was with the cab office when I graduated. I think he's in alumni now.
Yeah, he is.
But he was a Couch Crew captain my freshman year. And I walked over to where y'all were, and I just kind of watched for a second. I was like, wow, there's excitement. And I turned around, and Jeff, he sees me, and he just had a big grin on his face. And it's like, we both knew, it's like, okay, it's back. And so one thing that would happen to us is we'd go to the games, we'd have a full Couch Crew at the beginning of any given game. Let's say we're playing like McMurray or Sul Ross, and then it's a blowout by halftime. And so everyone's leaving to go get Sonic drinks. It was usually girls would travel in pods to leave, and they'd say they're coming back, but you knew they weren't. And then guys would kind of follow them and it'd trickle off. For TLU, where there weren't many people in the entire stadium, I noticed y'all were building. Like, people were coming to your section. Yeah. I was like, they have pods of girls coming to their section instead of being repelled. What's this about? So how has it been? Like, what's the reception been like, and how long did it take for it to take off?
Well, our first day was actually a pretty tough day because we posted like on our Instagram, like, yeah, who's all pulling up to Peacock because we're gonna like get all like painted up and like head out together. And then like something like 70 people said they would show up. And then like I think we left with like 20.
Yeah. It was minuscule compared to what we thought.
Like I was thinking like, dude, if half comes, complete success. We leave with like 35, 40 people, and then like only 20 people came, like including the captains. So it was like oh, okay. But like when we showed up to the game, it was just like us people, and then just people just started like piling in. And I was like, all right, people just didn't want to get painted up. But they still want to hang out with the Couch Crew. So that was, I don't know if you have anything.
No, yeah, I think it flourished like we talked about on the Instagram very fast. And so we thought that would, translate to people. But like Caleb said, it didn't at first. And I know it was a little punch to the gut, like being at Peacock and looking around. But then actually heading to the game and getting there and seeing the excitement and knowing that something had changed. It wasn't just people showing up to a football game anymore. It was like people as a group, as a whole, as a culture showing up to a game. So.
And you should have heard the alumni that were walking up to me throughout the stadium while I was there. And like, did you see that? Or like, did you hear about this? And I didn't want to jinx y'all. So I'm kind of like, oh yeah. I think I heard something about that. But yeah, I mean, people were thrilled to see that.
Yeah. And also something that's been so successful with Couch Crew for us, I feel like, is just the amount of people that come to games outside of football as well, like announcing, soccer game is happening, basketball is happening, volleyball. Our volleyball team was extremely successful.
That was like one of the highlights of all of Couch Crew. After the first volleyball game, they all came up to us after and they were like, "Thank you so much for coming." That was like the biggest difference. And I was just like,
Somebody in that chat thread had put that
right there. I was watching that game, that volleyball game, and I saw that they came up to y'all, and I was just like, "That's the greatest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah, that there it is.
And then they came back from like an 0-2, like they were down 0-2 to
it was
HSU,
wild.
so that was like a wild game.
Yeah.
Well, it was cool. Like I didn't watch it, but I heard about it from these two guys, and then I saw y'all post about it and pictures of the section at the game, and then Riley Zayas, who is the True to the Crew guy that we had on here. He had been talking about fan support and all. So seeing it from these different angles was so cool. Watching it come together. Awesome. Quick suggestion, actually, y'all should put a few more pictures of y'all in action. Like y'all have done an amazing job posting about the games, because I usually see your posts before I see the schools. But yeah, we should see some pictures of y'all actually just like in the section doing your thing.
I try to put those on like the story a lot.
Yeah, we definitely have
what's happening.
We have some exciting things coming up.
We have a lot of work.
Right.
So excited
awesome.
for that.
Are you able to drop any hints on the pod?
Just more of that. Did you watch us on the Stag Bowl? Like we were interviewing people.
Yes. Yeah, that was great.
More stuff of that caliber. We plan on doing a lot of like cookouts, stuff like that. Just
all right.
Just like tacos, tailgates. So we're planning on tailgating at HSU games, obviously.
So one thing, so y'all aren't like an official registered student organization, correct?
No.
So honestly, it existed that way for about 20 years, so that's fine. But that kind of leads into this question of any alumni, because you're talking to three of us, but there are plenty out there who are interested in what y'all are doing and want to support. What are some things that alumni can help y'all out with?
Bro, give me a grill.
That's doable. Jake McGinnis, if you're watching.
Talk to me before football season. I might be able to make that happen for you.
Yeah, that's one thing that we were to try to do. What sucks is like most of the games are at like 12, and people like to stay out late on Fridays and you don't want to get up at like 10 to go eat lunch with Couch Crew. But like when the games are gonna be at like 7 and like 3 o'clock, like I'm very looking forward to like trying to get people together in those parking lots. And like
listen, I know the problem with those early games. I to my great shame one time missed an entire HSU playoff game because I and it was a great one too. We won on a last second field goal.
Yeah, we won by like 2 points.
Yeah, and you hear about that a lot too, don't you?
I still do. But you know what? It was worth it. Almost worth it, because we made people think that there was an actual ghost in Presser Hall. We had a cop who would take people on tours like at 2 a.m. and it was hilarious.
That's hilarious.
The thing about HSU, we were always so tired too because we stayed up all night. So we would play a game called Running Man, and I think when I first met you guys, we talked about that game a little bit, and it was so crazy. We would stay up till 4 or 5 in the morning, the entire campus. I mean, it was just people were up, and then it was like, all right, well, go to Whataburger now. So it'd be at 5 a.m. and it's almost time to get up to get ready for the game. And so by the time we got to the game, we were all dog tired and then had another 4 hours of yelling, and it was Hardin-Simmons, so it was close.
Yeah.
So that one, then we would just hibernate till.
Well, luckily that specific game was Kickergate, so it kind of hyped us up quickly.
We weren't very nice to that guy. So one thing I think would be really cool. Football has really built, especially over the past, I'd say 5 or 6 years, their alumni tailgate is amazing. Shout out Eric Schonert and the Football Alumni Association. I went to one of their tailgates. I didn't play football, but I went to one of their tailgates this past year. It was just, you saw every generation, every year, and even like guys that had just been on the team hanging out with guys that were way older than we are. And I was like, that'd be cool if Couch Cru had something like that. Like all the alumni, which we kind of unofficially do, but be cool if you could have
I was about
alumni
to say,
and students.
that's the couch. That's the tailgate that I just kind of put together myself.
It'd be cool to kind of have like all the eras.
Generational thing.
Our tailgate kind of like merged with their tailgate at the 18 Stag Bowl, and that was definitely an experience. Speaking of Stag Bowls, how was that y'all's first road trip for a game, or yeah?
Oh,
how did that go?
What a first!
Right?
I know. Any great stories from Stag Bowl? What was that like for y'all?
Well, I wore like thermal underwear and like big jacket, but I just wore Vans, so like my feet were cold the entire time. I remember beating the crap out of North Central. Like first half of the game was like competitive, and the second half was just like, all right, I can start talking crap now because we're just horrible. But so yeah, no, like I think after like the first quarter, I like looked at like Chris, who was like the other Couch Cru captain there, and I was like, yo, it's like interviews. Let's like just do Faith. Let's interview Faith. And he was just like, okay, what do you want me to do? I was like, just record me. I'll like do it. And then I was like, hey, go. I was like, hey, I'll record you. Go do Michael Burns. Go do Michael Burns. And then we just did that. We were like, yo, let's have a Couch Cru MVP. And
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It almost reminded me of Sidewalk Talk for the Bing Bong thing that has kind of blown up on Twitter, where there is, maybe less colorful people than a little bit more buttoned down.
Yeah, for real.
But that was super exciting. I had a torn ACL the entire time, so like my leg, I just got surgery too, so I'm like,
oh man.
But yeah, that entire time I would like, people were like, hey, do you want to sit down? And I was like, no, I'll stand for Couch. I'll stand for UMHB. Like my legs like hurting. I'm like, I'm getting surgery, so they're fixing it. So
oh golly,
that's dedication.
That's awesome.
What's the funniest thing? Like whether it was from that trip or not, like so far? I know it's not been very long, but there's got to have been some funny moments.
We were like driving back, and some dudes started getting like really nauseous. So like they like pulled over on the bus right back because they're like, we don't want you throwing up on the bus. And like the chaperones, they're like, hey, nobody get off. We're gonna be here for like literally just 10 minutes, so this guy can go like to the restroom and like handle his business. And then like no one listens. Like half the bus gets off. So I was like, all of us in the front were just like, dude. Like, so then that happens, and then like 10 minutes on the dot, like most of the people are back. We leave. We go like 10 minutes down the road, and someone goes like, hey, we left somebody. So we did waste like 30 minutes because we had to take a whole loop just to come back.
Oh no.
So,
please tell me it was the original guy y'all stopped for.
Dude, no, he was like the first it was some girl. She didn't even feel bad about it. Hilarious. She like
That's amazing.
So how long was that ride?
Yeah, it was a long
20
time.
hours. Dude, the worst part about that is I would think, if I was like on a 2-hour road trip and a 3-hour road trip, that's a big difference. 2 and 3. But like 22 and 24 hours, it's not like it matters at that point. I don't think it matters. And they were like, yeah, so like we're gonna stop at gas stations so y'all can get stuff to eat. And I'm just like, gas stations? Can we just stop at Whataburger or like McDonald's or something? Do a real meal.
Literally.
So like everyone on the entire like ride back was just like so disgusted because we had like I think like I remember like at the morning before the Stag Bowl, they were like, yeah, we'll handle like your meals, we'll get you all like breakfast and like brunch. And I was just like, I'm a very thankful person. I was really appreciative that they got us the free meal, but it was like this just super tiny, just like Jimmy John's sandwich, and it was like mostly lettuce. So my biggest complaint is that they did not fill my calorie count.
Oh man.
my worst
year, I took a bus trip like that to Atlanta for the basketball championship we went to in 2013, I guess it was. And it wasn't 20 hours, but it was probably like 13 or 14. But I remember though the bus trip was honestly like maybe one of the most fun things of the whole thing, just because of how goofy and delirious everybody got, and just stupid things being. Someone started like a Twitter account just for like things that were being said on the bus trip. Like it was great. I loved it.
Despite my worst, like, why are we stopping thing was Central College, not North Central, but Central College in Iowa, of all places. A group of us idiots got together and were like, hey, you want to go to Iowa this weekend? Yeah, sure. We left after chapel. So it was 12 noon and we get in the truck and we drove 16 hours to Pella, Iowa. And by the time we got to Oklahoma City, I remember one of the guys in the truck was like, guys, I remember when we drove to Oklahoma City for a game and that felt like a long time. We're not even halfway there. And so when we're there, the cheer coach at the time was like, Garrett, you want to ride back in the cheerleader van? I'm like, yeah. So I definitely did that. They stopped every hour to restock on chips and drinks and everything. Everybody was hot. And so it was like the opposite of the glamour I thought it was going to be. It was rough.
So obviously y'all are all involved in Couch Crew, but one of the questions typically we ask of alumni, but in y'all's case, what is y'all's favorite tradition right now that you're a part of?
I'm not like super involved in it, but just like, dude, like Easter pageant's crazy.
Yeah.
Easter pageant.
I'm actually a disciple for Easter pageant.
Nice.
Which one?
I'm Andrew.
All right.
Oh.
But dude, like I'm not like, I think I'm just gonna be like just some random role. I don't really care.
Yeah.
But dude, it's just like I was just a Cats person last year and it's just crazy. It's like just the perspective is insane. So it's hard to compete with Easter pageant.
Do people still yell random things during the crucifixion to see what they can get away with? So like for crowd noise, the energy would always die down. They're like, guys, I know you're tired of yelling nonsense at the cross. Just keep yelling stuff. We were yelling out like Winnie the Pooh characters in like the U.S. Constitution, trying to recite it. Like we were yelling everything we could to just try.
That's wild. Yeah, I think Easter pageant and crew nights is just they're top notch. I know me, Michael, and Caleb had a role in crew nights last year, and it was a blast, man. Just the amount of like guys saying out of pocket things and just being wild every single night at practice, and then it coming to fruition into a show. So much fun. It has to be up there for a favorite tradition.
That's one of the things as we talk to alumni, like every episode, they like that one always comes up. Crew nights is like people's favorite traditions and the bonds that they make on it. It's really cool. We ask a question too, which I guess won't apply to y'all, which is what's a tradition that you like wish you'd have taken part in? Crew nights was mine because I get like nominated 3 times, and every time I was like, that's a time commitment. I dropped out, and now I wished I would have. But so I'll twist it for y'all. All right. So what's a tradition y'all haven't taken part in yet, but you think you might want to?
Probably like Psalms 139.
Yeah, absolutely. Psalms 139.
Yeah.
What is that?
It's like a girls only. They won't let us join. We sign up every year, but they won't let us.
Yeah, I tried to be.
I love that.
That's nice.
And I got denied. And so, that's.
Dude, honestly, it's like, but for real, like you asked that question, but like I've been involved in like I've done stunt night, crew nights, Easter pageant. I'd love to be more involved in Easter. I'd love to get like big role in that.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have been involved in almost everything, and it's like almost going into different roles and like having bigger roles in each thing. Like crew nights, like just because I was a contestant in crew nights, like Caleb was an MC, like being an assistant director or a director or an MC for me would be amazing. And so experiencing those different things is awesome.
Different perspectives of the same thing.
Exactly.
So cool.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Garrett, Andy, do y'all have any other questions?
I don't know if I have any questions.
I'm curious, just kind of like what are some of your plans for next football season? Just thinking ahead to the next school year, even, like keeping the ball rolling, maybe taking road trips. Like what's some stuff y'all'd like to see happen?
I'll be honest, I don't think we're thinking about next football season yet.
Well, I was we were already thinking about like the next sport, but like I've been thinking that I was thinking free food before the game.
Yeah,
because I feel like free food,
college kids, man,
it works.
Free food.
Yeah,
like they're gonna come, and I don't know, because here at UMHB, I feel like a lot of people are like more homeschool, so they don't really have the understanding of like what it's like for like, I don't know, hype football game.
Yeah.
So like the more they come, I think the more like, the greater it's gonna get.
Yeah, and I think we want to integrate more things that make people feel like they're involved. I know me and Caleb were literally just talking about how we want people to be like, oh, what are you involved in? And being like, Couch Crew. Yeah, because that's such a big deal. When you're thinking of it, people say Easter pageant or let's say crew nights. You know, we want them to say, I'm involved in Couch Crew and I'm contributing to that. And so they have a role in it and feel like people have a responsibility to show up like we do. And it's not just an everybody thing.
Yeah,
I love that. And part of why I love it is because part of what helped Couch Crew succeed for so long was my first 2 years of school at UMHB, and to an extent my junior year as well. Couch Cru Captains, if you were a captain, it's because you were in everything. It was like 1 year, almost all the Roman guards in Easter pageant were former football players / Couch Cru Captains. There was another year where all the captains were in crew nights. Like basically captains weren't just known for Couch Crews. They were in Couch Crew because they were in every single thing. But I think by the time I graduated, and definitely by the time these other two graduated, it had gotten so condensed to where it was kind of like, oh, if you do Couch Crew, you're one of the 5 people that does it. You know, it's like it had become so centralized that it didn't feel inclusive. And so I like, y'all are doing it right. Like y'all are doing it the way the original one went.
Yeah.
We're trying our best to make it like just anyone can do it, but we just feel like people don't have just like this like identity of like, oh yeah, I'm in Couch Crew, but that's what we're trying to change. Like
there was a lot of people like early on, they're like, what is Couch Crew? And we go, you are Couch Crew.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
You're Couch.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's great. Honestly, all I can say about that is that's the right way to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And I love the food idea. I'm a little bit sad now that I know UMHB doesn't give free food, because I know a lot of games back in our day they'd give out free Miller's sausage wraps.
Really?
They definitely don't.
All the time. It was
that must have been right after I left because we never.
Yeah, it was. Well, like, here's the cool thing about that. Like Miller's had just opened up, and they were like literally in like a little small room, like the size probably of y'all's dorm room. That was like also a taxidermy office. And so like you didn't know if like they were like skinning the animals and like doing everything all back there. And they were super cheap and like had like deals for college kids. And like I came in there broke with like my card getting declined, and they're like, yeah, just eat for free. It's cool. And now they're big and fancy, but
you definitely knew it was fresh.
Yeah. I think they did a lot of that to grow the base, but they've done well.
I'm never going to get Dusty on here now.
Yeah, but no, on the food thing though, like for real, I'm looking at getting a new grill in over the summer. So like if y'all want an old beat up grill that's like 6-7 years old, like I would give it.
Hey dude, Peacock's big. I'll just toss it out in the back, you know, and I don't need it. I don't need to bring it upstairs or anything.
Yeah, there you go.
Here's a question. Speaking of bringing stuff, who brought the little mini couch? Like I saw y'all finally had a couch on the rail.
Hold up, we have it right here. Hold up, is it up there?
Oh yes.
We have it.
Nice.
Oh, the mini couch. I was like, dude, I don't know what you're talking about.
So we actually had a real couch back in the original one, and the rule is no one was allowed to stand or sit on it. And there it is.
Nice.
Yeah, Jeff Sutton made us that. So.
Oh, nice.
Who did?
Jeff Sutton.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And Jeff was one of the guys that I'd have to help go take the original one my freshman year. The first one was like I think it came out of the student center. It was like part wooden, part vinyl, whatever. It had just gotten rained on so much it was gross, but we had an actual couch that we would haul for the next few years. And I remember one year we were playing McMurray, and, you know, we're greeting the team. We're still at the high school stadium. Andy and I looked in, and there's a McMurray football player jumping on our couch. We're like, that's not okay. Like we start running like we're going to do something to a suited up football player. So I was like, it was a good thing he left. It was more of a gesture run than anything, but
yeah. You know, I was actually really close when I was a student to getting us a purple couch. Because my dad has like worked in the furniture industry his whole life. And so it didn't work out. I wanted it to so bad, but that would have been cool to have an actual purple couch.
You just need to have like the Bob Mills
like
couch.
Soccer games, they still they've been like don't.
Oh, they don't want you to bring them actually.
No,
not at all.
And I had like, remember when we first started, I had so many like alumni texts like, hey, I have this old couch. Do you want it?
That's hilarious. Yeah,
I guess the stadium's like it's set up completely different, where it wouldn't really suit a couch to be in there. I don't think.
Even like a soccer field, I thought that would be fine, but they were like, no.
That's how it
Well,
started.
the soccer field was definitely where it's. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
so
it would be y'all could, if y'all had like an inflatable one, you could like haul in a inflatable one, just blow it up while it's in the stadium, and then deflate it and take it home. Yeah, it's so cool though. Like y'all have so many opportunities to incorporate new things and make this program grow. And I know I've said this for myself 100 times to talk your ear off, but so many other alumni I've talked to that didn't realize it was about to come back are just stoked. Like y'all have made a lot of people happy.
Awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Good.
I just remember like the first thing y'all posted, like randomly, it was like responding to something that I had said. And I was like, who are these people? What's going on? And I texted everybody. I was like, who is this? Anybody know what's going on? And nobody was like, yeah, no, I don't know.
That was literally the day like after I met with these guys. I remember you texted me, you're like, have you seen this? And I was like, well, this is going faster than I thought.
Trying to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
I do have to ask out of my own curiosity, was there any panic or anything when you went and told everybody, hey, we're going to bring this tradition of Couch Crew back? Did any jaws drop or eyebrows raise?
No, but like when we went to like talk to like Mike McCarthy and them, they were like, so like what's happening? We told them what they were happening, and then they were like 100% on board and they loved it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got nervous when y'all sent me a message like, hey, we had to talk to the school. I was like, oh no. Like, we didn't get y'all expelled, did we?
Yeah, they were 100% on it. They loved it. They told us they could help us out with some stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And
Cool.
That's cool.
Well,
you have alumni support. Anytime y'all need anything, reach out. There's a whole network of people on standby to help y'all.
Yeah. I can't say too much because we're saving it for our own another episode. But there were moments where we had ideas as captains, and alumni were like, "I like your idea. We will fund that." So I'm just saying, I can't promise anything, but if you have ideas but you need funding, just shoot up a flare and we'll see what we can do, because it's been done. It was done to help us out, and I know there'd be people wanting to do the same.
Sounds live.
I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, that funding was one of the reasons that the school wasn't so much fans towards the end. But another episode. Cool. Thank y'all for coming on. Thank y'all for doing what y'all do. Like we said, huge fans of what y'all are doing. Wish y'all the best of luck going forward. Keep this thing growing.
Absolutely.
Making it all about community, I think is solid. So
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Dude, y'all, before we end, y'all have any other things y'all want to say, just kind of about what y'all are planning or what y'all are wanting it to be in y'all's vision for Couch Crew?
Just hype for the next, the next season, just ready to go, ready to get started. And like we said, continue to build a culture and an environment that people are going to love and like affiliate with, and ready to, pass it down as like a child almost, and see other people take on the baby and enjoy it from then on. So
absolutely.
And then you can come tailgate with us in the old people section.
There you go.
There you go. Yep. Ready for that day.
Couch Crew is just beginning, man. Like we are
awesome.
Yeah, like this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing. Like I don't know. I just can't wait to see like what it turns into.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler, how many GIFs and memes did we send back and forth of like Palpatine being like, no one's ever really gone? He's like, he's back. I think I sent the one of Harry Potter crying where he's like, he's back.
I know the one that I was thinking of was that original Star Wars trailer for episode 7 or whatever. It's like, there's been an awakening. Can you feel it?
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's awesome. Guys, man, I appreciate this. This is we threw this idea about 3 weeks ago, and the moment we texted y'all, it was kind of like, let's do it. So we appreciate y'all coming on.
Yeah, thank y'all for having us. Really do appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Catch y'all later.
Right.
Hope to see y'all.
It was great to meet y'all.
Well, that was cool seeing the new guys kind of take the baton and
I was just glad that we could help them out in any ways that we can, like especially with like that banner. I can't tell you how many times that thing has almost been thrown away.
Like, that's cool. Yeah.
Like on campus, like they were about to throw it away, like whenever they were getting rid of everything. And I just snatched it. I was like, no, that's not happening. Yeah. And it's been sitting in my house.
Because we thought it did get thrown out
about 3-4 years ago. I was like, should I throw this away? Yeah, no, I had it the whole time.
And they're definitely their own thing. Like they are, it's a new deal, but I love that they, with the banner and some other little things, that there is still a continuity with the past as well.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do, and they keep it growing. And I love their ideas about really trying to build community, like having like doing tailgates and different stuff. I think that's something, man. Like I think back, like, dude, we should have come up with like events to do. Well, so much of my job now is like planning like social type events, and I'm like, dude, I totally could have done that.
If it makes you feel better, some of us did have those ideas and got shut down, so that's why you weren't able to.
Well, yeah, and that's part of what helped kill Couch Cru the first time, was that kind of like trying to hold in a box, you know.
Yeah.
But that's a whole other podcast all to it. That's probably a series of podcasts. I have this idea. I want to do the rise and fall of Couch Cru, like a 30%.
Hey, it would work.
I think it would. I think there'd be a lot of cool people to interview. I know part of I want to interview the Phi 2 Beluga guys pretty soon. They were really the predecessors that set the mold for that Couch Cru came a part of, and then Couch Cru kind of became its own thing, and now this new Couch Cru will get to keep carrying on that legacy. So that's pretty cool. Well,
Phi 2 Beluga guys, they've been supportive of the podcast too.
They have.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, shout out. So I know that we're gonna try to have them on at some point. It was great talking to those guys. I'm excited to see what they're gonna do. They've got a bright future. It's cool being able to see it continue on, but we've got some news we have to cover before we end this podcast. Pete,
no repeat.
Yeah,
they'll have to repeat for him.
Repeat for Pete. Repeat for Pete. That's the sign we need.
The new phrase can be, "We're harming everybody."
Oh man, I was just thinking, like, Larry I think is gonna be great and all that, but hey Larry, we're here. We're here. Might have the same ring to it.
The fact that on his broadcast he confirmed that 9 offensive starters and 6 defensive starters are coming back should be a great transition.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited. Yeah, and then like Stag Bowls in Annapolis, Maryland, I think at the Naval Academy this year. So that's going to be a great place to go. My only concern, I think, obviously, we've heard people like Dawson Barksdale just like rave about Larry Harmon.
Absolutely.
But losing Coach Lee, our offensive coordinator, that does scare me a little bit, because he came right before 16 and has been there for all the championships. And really, when he came is when we saw our offense just transform from a lot of option left into, what it's become now.
Yeah.
I believe we can get somebody else in.
I think so too. We were talking the other day about all the Cru alumni at Westlake.
Tony Salazar.
They've got their head coach as a Cru alumni now, and I know they've got some other coordinators. That's probably a step up from UMHB. So I don't know if we could draw any of those, not the head coach, but any of the coordinators or something. But that'd be really cool if we could.
But do we have anybody at Allen High School yet? I mean, the metric. So
hey, they didn't make it all the way this year, so they're on a downhill now.
So you think about it though, these big dog high schools start hiring these Cru coaches. Where do you think those coaches are going to nudge their players to start going? I mean, it's kind of like the ripple effect of recruiting for the long run. And I remember when Pete had to take a break for about 3 games, I think it was a couple of years ago. And I remember we were kind of like, what's this going to look like? A team coached by someone else. Are we going to blow them out as much? And what didn't Harmon put like 91 points on him?
It was I think he set the record.
That was the first game of the year. That year.
I've been kind of on Team Harmon as replacement since that. Like I'm thinking, like I hope he stays around for the long haul.
A lot of people are replaced though. He's got to get an OC. He's got to get a DC. Thrash ended up moving up to ACU with Lee as well. So there's a ton. The only thing that makes me not completely confident, we'll go back to Salem next. We're not Salem, wherever we're going to go, Stag Bowl. Is the fact that we've lost a huge amount of coaches, but we've got some stud players coming back. So I'm excited. And I can't believe like that we're going to have Cru football without Pete, because it's not like he's a the great coach in our history. It's not like he's just been this coach that's been around for forever. He is UMHB football.
He's the coach.
Yeah, he is the only coach. Yeah, that's
stadium. Rename it like
Fredenburg Field.
Fredenburg Field.
That is what I've been pushing, is that it needs to be Fredenburg Field.
I don't even care if it's Pete Stadium. Just call it something after the man.
I think you know what? Even if they don't call it that, I'm just gonna start calling, like, when I say I'm gonna go to a game, I'm gonna be like, hey, I'll meet you at Fred's Field, because that's got a ring to it, and that's really what it is. It is Fred's Field.
I'm not one for naming stadiums just to name them, but that's one that I'm okay with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just total legend.
Maybe we can get Pete on the podcast.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Tuned.
Purple gold and getting old. Let's do it.
That would be so far out of our league, man. That would
honestly, though, I mean,
y'all stay tuned.
We'll see.
Well,
our next guest is going to be kind of a train wreck, so I'm looking forward to it.
Or I'll just start ending the podcast with, "Hey, sorry, Coach Pete, we ran out of time.
We ran out of time.
Get you on next episode."
All right.
Well, just like HSU, in a second half of a game, my internet is lagging severely, and I've got COVID. So let's.
Well, oh no.
Yeah, still got it.
All right, gotcha. Well, it's 9:14, and COVID and HSU
still sucks.